Well, good morning, sports fans. Glad to see you all bright and shiny this morning. It is now 7:30 a.m. I'm Greg Ferris, President of the Board of Trustees, and I hereby call this Board of Trustees meeting to order, and we do have a quorum present. These meetings are open to the public, although those meetings are public comments and questions from the audience are confined to the time designated for citizens to address the board. At this time, I'd like to ask you to all rise, and Mr. Scott Regan will lead our invocation.
Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning. We ask your blessings on this day. We ask that you keep us safe, God, as we do the work of this beautiful, beloved district. In Christ Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Scott. We're going to thank the pledge, Scott.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you again for all being here early this morning.
We're moving on to item 4, public forum. No one signed up to address the board this morning. So we'll move on to item 5, consideration and possible approval of resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the results of a bond election and other matters in connection therewith. At this time, Dr. Terry, I'll turn the microphone over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris, and I will start off by thanking everyone for attending this morning. The canvassing of the votes is obviously the reason that we are here today. Just as a reminder, the election office did request to take all 10 days by statute, and that left us on the 11th day, which is today. So thank you for joining us, and that is why we are having a meeting at 7:30 a.m. Good morning, Mr. Lenny. So with this, I hope each of you have seen the canvassed results in front of you at the dais. We received those yesterday from the elections office. I'll read those out and then certify the results and present the certification to you as a board. Position 6, Forney ISD, Garrett Freedom McEnroe, 217. Becky Dobbs, 1,704. Erica Price, 1,566. Position 7, Forney ISD Board, Katrina Black, 1,846. Christopher Andrews, 1,593. Proposition A for the Forney ISD bond, 4 votes, 2,389 against, 1,241. So the certified results were received from Tandy Smith from the Kaufman County Elections Office for the Forney Independent School District Board of Trustees, and bond election held on May 7th, 2022. The swearing in of our elected officials will occur on Thursday, May 26th at our board meeting at that time. Today we're here just to canvass the votes. So at this time I will take any questions that you may have, and on the canvassing of the first item is the bond election, and then we'll do the board election, or the trustee election after that. So first item of action is the bond election.
Those results are on here too.
Yes, those results I read collectively.
Any questions regarding item 5, which is canvassing the bond results? Do I have a motion?
Mr. Ferris, I move to adopt a resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the results of a bond election.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Green. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I hear none. Thank you very much. Then moving on to item 6, consideration possible approval resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the trustee election and other matters in connection therewith. You've already heard the presentation by Dr. Terry. Do I have a motion?
President Ferris, I move that the board has the canvassing authority for the district trustee election to canvass the results of the May 7th, 2022 trustee election for the district by adopting the proposed resolution, declaring that the election was properly conducted, and declaring the candidates elected in accordance with the election results.
Thank you, Mr. Regan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I hear none. Then we'll move on to item 7, consideration possible approval of construction bids. Ms. Kim Morsack, Chief Operating Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. Board, I'm actually going to ask Jeff Fisher to come up and talk to you about the construction bids for approval this morning. It's only morning. Thank you.
Good morning, President Ferris, Dr. Terry, members of the board. It's good to be with you this morning. I don't mind getting up early, so I'm good. I've got 3 bids to present to you this morning. I'll start with the smallest one and move on to the biggest one. The first one is the canopy package rebid for Forney Elementary School number 10. When we received those bids originally, there was some confusion on the bidders, and so we decided to put that out for bid after making some clarifications with Huckabee, and we got that out, received the bids in, and we received 4 qualified bids for that, and actually we're recommending approval of Canopy Solutions LLC. Their total bid was $703,960, and I believe in the budget for canopies we carried $1,150,000, so it's about $300,000 or so under what we carried in the original budget. So. Second item is the Inspiration Way roadway improvements. This is the extension of Inspiration Way from the roundabout up to the north to serve the Keith Bell Opportunity Central project. This project was bid out. We received bids on that on April the 12th, and had 3 packages, received multiple bids for each one, and that project came in right about where we expected the budget to be. Total budget of $1,671,249, and we've got 3 contractors to approve on that project. And then the last but certainly not least is the expansions at Forney High School and North Forney High School. This is for the 9th grade additions, 9th grade center additions, if you want to call it that. Not sure what it's going to be called, but that's what it's going to be used for. We were real happy with the turnout that we got on bids on that those 2 projects. We bid them together to get economy of scale, but we also allowed the bidders to bid one or both, and that was successful for us because we did have some contractors that weren't quite big enough to do both projects at one time, but they were able to do one or the other, and so we got some good pricing from a couple of different trades by doing it that way. We've presented you the total sheet, total budget, and the backup, the bid tab. We had good turnout on the bids. That's a challenge right now on some projects, but seems like contractors are very willing to and interested in working for Forney ISD, so that says a lot for your district. Total budget on those 2 projects is $100 million even. Good morning. And again, we just ask for approval for these 3 sets of projects. Yeah, I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have this morning.
Any questions for Mr. Fisher? I'm sorry, did you mention timeline on that, on the high schools?
On the 2 high school additions, so obviously we're going to get it started as soon as possible. Our goal is to be able to have them open in August of 2023. Of course, we do have some challenges with that. The precast concrete that's used for the storm shelters, we've been told delivery on that is sometime after the first of the year. So that could cause us a bit of a challenge. The HVAC rooftop units are long lead time right now. Electrical switch gear is taking about a year to get. So there's some stuff in there that's going to make that challenging, but we're going to do everything we can to have them ready to open by August of 23.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Jeff. Board, you've heard the motion from Kim and Jeff. And I have a motion on construction bids.
I make a motion that the board approves construction bids as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Hannah. Oh, Ms. Dobbs? I was giving Hannah credit. You have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I have none. Thank you very much. And moving on to item A, consider possible approval to convene a facilities naming committee. Dr. Terry, I'll turn the microphone over to you.
Thank you, sir. And we've been holding off on this item until the bond election has been completed, and now that it has, that'll allow us to look at possibly more than just elementary number 10. So I appreciate the board's input and suggestions or recommendations to convening another facility naming committee. I think you guys have put together a good group and would recommend the 5-member committee to follow CW Local to make recommendation to the board. Probably meeting this summer for a late summer recommendation is what we're looking at from a timeline perspective right now. So we would recommend the approval and initiation of a facility naming committee as presented in your board packet. Be happy to answer any questions about the process that will follow as well.
Board, you've heard the presentation. You see the information in your packet. Do I have any questions for Dr. Terry? Or is there a motion on the floor?
Mr. Ferris, I move that we approve the facility naming committee as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Regan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I hear none. A closed session is next on item number 9. Board members, any questions or any reason we need to go to closed session? Okay, here none, we'll move on then to item 10. Dr. Terry, would like to address number 10?
Be happy to. Just a couple reminders. We do have still playoff softball and baseball, so if you have an opportunity tonight, the Forney High girls are playing at home at the new softball field against Prosper Rock Hill. That's a 2 out of 3 series. I think Friday will be their second game in Prosper. And then the boys play actually at Jesuit, Forney High School boys. They play Corsicana at Jesuit in a 1-game series on Thursday evening. If you're interested in attending those events, just a reminder, May 23rd is graduation. I believe Susan has put some information on your on the dais for you, including your tickets as well as parking and information and itinerary. So be happy to answer any questions about that, but it'll be very similar to last year's events. We will be there early and stay late, and I promise you we'll feed you in between. How about that? But then we're looking to close out school on May 25th and just have a great end of the year. So happy to answer any questions that you do have about announcements or some of the upcoming events.
I hear no other comments at this time. I thank you, Dr. Terry. Moving on to item 11. It is now 7:43, and we will call this meeting adjourned. Have a great, blessed day.